Ed Werder, respected journalist, says, regarding Deion Sanders, Ed Werder says, I'm being told he would certainly accept it if Jerry Jones offered the next Cowboy head coaching gig to him, and that those around Jerry are encouraging him to pursue it, and that Jones is enamored with the idea. Well, it would be interesting and splashy, and they're two showmen, and I think Jerry and Deion have a lot in common. They're performers. They'll take risks, and if you criticize them, they'll come on your show and talk about it. They don't shy away from risk. They welcome the spotlight. But Dallas is also two things today. Not very good and boring. So this falls in line with Jerry Jones' personality, which is he likes to be seen as the man who discovered something. He loved getting Tony Romo at a discount. He was undrafted. He loved getting Dak Prescott at a discount, right? Fourth rounder. And Deion Sanders, who we don't think of as the best coaching candidate, there's a little bit of discovery here. And I think Jerry loves that. Jerry's DNA was an oil catter. Let's dig and see what we got down there. And Jerry in the NFL is a little bit like that. Let's see what we've got here with undrafted Tony Romo and Deion Sanders as a head coach and Dak Prescott as a fourth rounder. So I don't know if Deion Sanders prime time would be a great coach. Let's just be honest about his college football experience. He went 13-12 in 2 years with arguably the best college quarterback. And without an argument, the Heisman Trophy winner who played both sides of the ball, and in a bad conference, the Big 12. He wasn't in the SEC. He wasn't he wasn't even in the Big 10 or the ACC. Is it in the Big 12? Went 13-12, and he got blown out a lot. And I will say this, prime time can sell prime time, and by proxy, he'll sell Dallas. But salesmanship is huge in college football. That's 75% of the game. Nick Saban was old, but he was young in the recruiting trail. He had energy and juice and swag, and Deion's got a lot of that. But the Cowboys have no cap room, and they're not going to trade Dak, so how does he make them better? And my rule has always been, whenever you make a coaching move, what do your rivals say? What do you think the Philadelphia Eagles are saying this morning about this story? They're saying, well, Jerry likes the spotlight, so he'll get the spotlight. They're not saying, oh, damn, Vrabel's going to change that culture. Or last year, oh, boy, Jim Harbaugh wins everywhere and really fast, and he's coming from Michigan. He knows all those college players. There's no fear in the Philadelphia Eagles executive suite or locker room today with Deion Sanders. He's a showman who was a 500 coach in a bad conference in college. Now, he took over a bad job. He was good for the sport. I was rooting for him. I think he's fun. But is Jerry going to win the spotlight, sacrificing perhaps winning games? So Joel Klatt was on the show yesterday, who played at Colorado, who hopes he stays primetime at Colorado, and he doesn't think necessarily the NFL is a great fit.
I don't believe that Dallas is somehow a better destination. In fact, I view it opposite. And I view this, this is not a Colorado and Dallas thing. This is also just an NFL versus college football. If you find the right fit in college football where you're comfortable and you can win, even in the Big 12, you're going to make a lot more money in the long run and have a lot more power in the long run than going to the NFL. Because even if the NFL can pay you more, maybe per year, that's going to be a short runway, and you have very little to no power.
I don't think Dallas's issue was a coaching problem. I think it's a roster problem. It's really top-heavy with a wildly overpaid quarterback and one great playmaker. And the Cowboys ended up, believe it or not, being too good to get a great draft pick in a really, really okay draft. It's not a bad draft, but there's about 7 to 8 special players. And Dallas actually, McCarthy coached them up too well, and they don't have one of those top picks. And it's not a draft. And in my opinion, unless you could get the receiver T-Mac from Arizona or a Mason Graham or Carter, the edge rusher from Penn State, I'm not moving up for anybody else. I don't even think I'm moving up for these quarterbacks. And you know Jerry's not getting rid of his quarterback. So what do you think the Eagles are saying today? Because I got news for you. Once Jim Harbaugh was coming to the Chargers, I can guarantee the people in Kansas City were like, damn, Herbert finally got a coach. And I can guarantee you in Buffalo with Mike Vrabel going to New England, you know what they're saying in Buffalo? Oh, he'll get that puppy turned around real fast. We got ourselves a ball coach. I think Philly's saying, well, Jerry likes the spotlight. He's on Landman, and he's got Deion, so he'll get that. Not saying he's going to fail, but there's some guarantees in the job search. I thought Vrabel was one of them this year, and Harbaugh was one last year. I don't know what you get here. Okay, so it's interesting. You would think, as the Kansas City Chiefs try to do something nobody's done in the NFL, 3 straight Super Bowl wins, they would be kind of intimidating, kind of daunting. But Sean Payton just said yesterday that when they went into the playoffs, they were actually more concerned about Buffalo, and that if they could get past Buffalo, they liked their chances against the Chiefs. And that next game was going to be Kansas City. So I think actually Kansas City proves 2 things, and it's actually instructive for other teams. It's instructive. And they prove 2 things. One, you don't have to be great at everything to win back-to-back Super Bowls. Kansas City's receiving core the last 2 years, a lot of ham and eggers. It's just a lot of guys. Now, Reed and Mahomes take a D-plus group and make it a C-plus group. So it's not terrible. But you don't have to be great at everything. But if you're terrible at anything, Joe Burrow's O-lines, you're not winning Super Bowls. The one time Mahomes didn't have his starting offensive tackles in the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 55, he got rolled. He got humiliated. The coaching is too good in the NFL. You do not have to be great at everything. You can't be terrible at anything. I mean, there were years Brady didn't have a great run game, but James White was one of the best pass-catching running backs in the league. So they may not have had a superstar running back, but their backs could catch and block and protect. And so that's the first thing. You do not have to be great at everything to win Super Bowls. Can't be terrible at anything. And the second thing is, you really only have to be elite at about 4 or 5 things. Head coach, quarterback, you got to have a dominant defensive person up front somewhere. Edge, Chris Jones, Aaron Donald. Got to have a dominant defensive lineman. You have to have an above-average offensive line and some reliable playmaker. It can be Saquon Barkley. It can be Gronk and Julian Edelman. It could be a tight end, a slot receiver. You have to have a third down go-to guy for the quarterback. They're not all going to be as good as Jamar Chase. But Puka Nacua, Saquon Barkley, Travis Kelce, you got to have one of those. So the Colts and the Seahawks, by the way, I think have excellent rosters. But they're not great at key positions. And so Kansas City fools you into thinking this is not a great team. They're great where you need to be in the NFL. So they're very instructive. They don't intimidate you. But if you go back and look at New England, they are Kansas City. Great coach, great quarterback, always above average offensive lines, always had somebody that could get after the quarterback. They often led the NFL in hurries. And there was one reliable playmaker, often 2. It was James White at a receiver spot out of the backfield. It was Gronk. For a couple years, it was Randy Moss. It was often Welker or Edelman. There was always one guy Tom knew he had on third down, and that is Travis Kelce. So, it's like the restaurant menu. Not everything has to be great. Get stuff off if it's terrible, and you got to be good at 2 or 3 things. In-N-Out, don't like their fries. Burgers and shakes, they crush. So I think a lot of people look at Kansas City and doubt them, but they're a very instructive team taking that baton from New England.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.